Comfey is almost here, and there is a ton you need to know about this Pokemon, both as a player who wants to play Comfey or as a player who is going against Comfey. Whenever a new Pokemon releases, it's very good to know what they do so you know what to expect, especially when going against them. Otherwise, you might feel that they may be too strong, and a lot of that can come from just not knowing what they can do. I'm going to give you everything you need to know in a very basic format so it's easy to follow and understand, as well as tips and builds for those who are ready to play as Comfey. Hi trainers, I'm Teeds. This is Nuts. Comfey is introducing some very new mechanics that we have not yet seen in Pokemon Unite. It is very similar to, some of you may know, Yuumi from League of Legends. For the question of the day, how strong do you think Comfey will be in the game? Let me know in the comments down below. As Comfey is a Pokemon that heavily relies on another ally for its mechanics to work to its full potential, this Pokemon was a lot harder to test with because on the PTS, I unfortunately cannot bring a friend with me to help me test these things, and I had to go by what I have tried in the game. So with that, things may change or be more clear when the Pokemon is out on the live client on the 2nd of February. These are the 3 biggest things all players will need to understand about Comfey first. Number 1, it is a supporter and it supports its allies in a very unique way. What it does is it attaches itself to its allies and provides healing, damage, and hindrances this way. So if you're alone against a pretty decent Pokemon who has a Comfey attached to them, that opposing Pokemon has a pretty significant advantage. Comfey will not take any damage if it's attached to a Pokemon. You have to take that Pokemon out first before you can actually start hurting Comfey. Number 2, its Unite move makes a huge grass patch in a circle radius. In this grass, from what I understand, allies, opposing Pokemon, and objectives can hide in this grass, also known as stealth. We have a lot of stealth mechanics in this game now, so they've added some to Comfey as well. It pretty much works exactly like the grass bushes in the game already, so from what I understand, if you're in the grass, you should be able to see everything. I was a bit confused when I was testing this in the practice. There were some wild Pokemon that I could see, some wild Pokemon that I couldn't see, some objectives I could see or couldn't see, etc. So I don't know why it was very inconsistent, but maybe there is something that I'm missing. So from my testing, it was a bit weird. Articuno Eevee has also touched on this with their testing, and from what I can see with their testing, Rayquaza may be hidden. So from that, I can deduct you won't be able to see anything of it unless you're inside Comfey's grass as well, which as the enemy, if you go into the grass where you can't see anything, there may be a whole enemy team in there waiting to ambush you, or they may not. It can be used as a bait. In this clip, Articuno Eevee hides Rayquaza, and the Glaceon bot actually was walking away until the Unite move ran out and Glaceon was able to see Rayquaza again and started attacking it. This is really important to note if this is the case. You may need to get close to secure Rayquaza, but getting too close may result in an ambush, as this Unite move can also be used as bait. Number 3, scoring and Comfey. It's important to know that if you have a Comfey on you and you have max Aeos energy points, Comfey will pick up the excess. If you score with a Comfey on you, Comfey will also score. But now this is just on the PTS. I couldn't test this in practice to confirm since I don't have an ally in practice. It seems that Comfey cannot score more than the Pokemon who they're on. So for example, if the ally Comfey is on scores 20, Comfey will also score 20 even if they have more points. And another important thing, it seems that Comfey cannot score double when on an ally. So if you have 50 and an ally has 50, it will not make that score 200 during the double scoring phase. Instead, Comfey may have to get off the ally to score separately during the double scoring phase at the 2-minute mark. This may change on the live client, but at least in the PTS gameplays, this is what I've seen. Okay, let's jump to the moves and hidden mechanics. So for the passive, we have Triage. I don't know if I'm saying that right. Comfey collects flowers, so it gains 1 flower after a certain amount of time. It gains 4 flowers when entering tall grass or the bushes in the game, so any bush in the game on the map. It can have a maximum of 8 flowers, and when you use the moves Synthesis, Floral Healing, or Sweet Kiss, all flowers are consumed and boost the effects of these moves. Can also attach itself to allies when using these moves, and while attached, the user does not take damage and gradually recovers health. Movement speed increases when near an ally Pokemon at half remaining health or less. If the ally you're attached to has max Aeos energy, Comfey will take the excess. When the ally you're attached to scores, Comfey will also score. In a nutshell, Comfey needs to collect flowers to increase the effects of the other moves. Unite move and bushes will give the most flowers in the quickest time frame, so you can probably expect a Comfey in bushes when roaming around. Because of the way Comfey works, I recommend attaching and disattaching throughout the game during your cooldown times to collect more flowers to max maximize Comfey's effects. One of the first moves you start with is Synthesis. It's a healing move with a 5-second cooldown. When not attached, using this will attach you to a designated ally and grant it a shield. When you're attached to an ally, using this move will restore the ally's health. The more flowers that are consumed, the more it will heal the ally. When disattaching from the ally, you can move in a designated direction. Upon reaching level 4, you can then choose between these two abilities. The first one we have is Floral Healing. It's a healing move with a 5-second cooldown. When not attached, using this move will attach you to a designated ally and grant it a shield. It will restore the ally's health, and the more flowers that are consumed, the more health that is restored. If the ally has max health, it will actually convert the excess healing into a shield. When disattaching from the ally, you can move it in a designated direction. When upgraded, increasing the movement speed of the ally Pokemon attached for a short time. The second move we have is Sweet Kiss. It is a crowd control / hindrance move with an 8-second cooldown. When not attached, using this move will attach you to a designated ally and grant it a shield. When attached to an ally, it charges more power before making opposing Pokemon infatuated. Infatuated Pokemon approach the user against their will. It's basically Wigglytuff's passive, and it is double brutal if you're attached to a Wigglytuff. This can be charged longer by holding the button down. It will give you a larger area of effect. The more flowers consumed, the longer opposing Pokemon are infatuated. When disattaching from the ally, you can move in a designated direction. When upgraded, increases the movement speed of the ally Pokemon attached to while the user is charging. So basically, all of these 3 moves in this one tree can be used to attach yourself onto the ally. It is very good to note that while these moves heal, it heals your ally and not yourself. To heal yourself, you just have to attach yourself to an ally and you get HP over time, from what I understand. Your other starting move is Vine Whip, a range damage move with a 9-second cooldown. Strikes out vines in front of itself. This will deal damage to opposing Pokemon in the area of effect. This will also decrease their movement speed for a short time. You can also use this move while attached to an ally. It doesn't say this in the move description, but from the gameplay, it seems that Vine Whip has increased range when attached on an ally. Upon reaching level 6, these are the 2 moves you can choose. Magical Leaf, an area damaging move with a 10-second cooldown. It's similar to Decidueye's Razor Leaf. Comfey launches 3 scattering leaves each second for a set amount of time. It will target opposing Pokemon in the area of effect and deal damage. Leaves can even deal damage to Pokemon hiding in the tall grass. So if you're hiding from Comfey or an enemy who has Comfey attached to them, the grass may not be too safe. If Comfey damages the same opposing Pokemon 6 times by these leaves, the Pokemon will also be unable to act. This move can be used while attached to an ally and the area effect will be increased. When upgraded, increases the number of leaves launched each second to 4 leaves instead of 3. The other move you can upgrade into is Grass Knot. It is a crowd control / hindrance move with an 8-second cooldown. Comfey unleashes vines in a designated direction, dealing damage to opposing Pokemon. This also leaves them unable to move. This move can hit up to 2 opposing Pokemon, and if it hits 2, it pulls the second one hit to where the first one is and deals additional damage to both. When upgraded, increases this move's area of effect. I find this move really interesting, and I really do like the crowd control of it as well. The last move we have is the Unite move, which is called Flowery Fields Forever. Comfey creates a large area of tall grass around itself. Pokemon in this tall grass cannot be seen, just as with other tall grass on the map, and it seems that it's all allies, enemies, and objectives, but don't quote me on this one. It is a bit hard to test because of how inconsistent it is at the moment. If ally Pokemon enter this tall grass, they will continuously recover health as long as they are in it. Comfey gains special flowers from this tall grass. Consuming these special flowers boosts Floral Healing and Sweet Kiss. So you can use this Unite move to hide objectives, to bait enemies to come into the tall grass. So what you can do is maybe, you know, there's a Rayquaza fight going to happen, or like a bottom Reggie or a top Reggie that's going to happen. You could use a Unite move on this so the enemies possibly cannot see it, and they may just have to walk in to try and see what's happening. You could just also spam your moves into the hidden grass as well. But there's a lot of baiting things you can do with Comfey. Like for example, you could put that Unite move on the objective, but actually hide in a different bush that's close to the objective, so enemies will think you're inside that circle radius. That is like a bait you can do as well. I'm very curious to see if this will change up like how people will play against the other team if they have a Comfey. It is very interesting. For the builds, here's what I found working during the PTS. I'd like to note that I haven't tested all battle items yet, but for example, Potion will not affect the ally you're attached to, and some battle items you cannot use while attached as well. I found Floral Healing plus Magical Leaf good for a mixture of healing and damage. I found Floral Healing plus Grass Knot for a mixture of healing and crowd control, and Sweet Kiss plus Magical Leaf for a damage and aggressive build. I do find Magical Leaf and Sweet Kiss really cool because if you're attached to an ally, these moves do work. So if you're on like an ally that can survive very well in fights, like I don't know, maybe like a crazy Pokemon like Serena or like Tyranitar or something, as Comfey, being attached to these Pokemon can really result in some chaos for the opposing team. Comfey just being attached generally to a Pokemon that's aggressive and can survive well is a really killer combo. That is something that I really want to try out when Comfey actually comes to the live clients. For the emblems, I would go for like a full cooldown and special attack emblem set like this one. And for items, I really liked Wise Glasses, Energy Amplifier, and Shell Bell to really maximize that cooldown. Pretty standard cooldown build. Some mentions that may be good on Comfey as well is XP share, but I wasn't able to use this in my PTS server yet because it's pretty hard to get a game. It's very but heavy now for some reason. But I'm still experimenting with builds. I found these builds to work very well though when I used it on the PTS. And yeah, if you haven't checked out what happened yesterday to me, I do recommend watching this video that's on the screen right now. It was absolutely insane. I never have felt so upset in my life. But yeah, if you want to see what happened there, it's pretty crazy. Thank you so much for watching, trainers. Comment down below if you're excited for Comfey. Like the video if you enjoyed this. Subscribe, click the bell, really help me out. And thank you so much for watching.